Hey everyone, it's Jim T. Graham and Jason Cole with RCGroups.com, the world's largest, most active, and singularly nuanced sweet spot for the RC world ever conceived. I now have no idea what's coming out of my mouth. What's happening, Jason Cole?
What's going on?
Well, I can tell you this: what magnificent weather we've had for the past week or so.
I can't even remember the last time it rained, which is crazy, right?
It's been a week. But yeah. it rained so much before that because I remember mowing was quite a deal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I can tell you that there's been a lot of croquet going on in the backyard, a lot of fire pitting. We have a movie projector set up in the back now. And so almost every night for 4 or 5 days straight, we were watching movies in the backyard, which no neighbor has yelled at us. Although we have been watching movie content. My daughter was like, hey, why don't we watch this movie? And we were like, hey, that would be highly not okay to broadcast on a giant screen in the backyard. So, and what have you been doing at the Cole household?
With the Cole household, we've been working on the backyard as well. So we put in a gazebo. I had a good buddy, Scott Shaw, come over, sailplane pilot, and he helped me put in a extension to my concrete slab so we could fit the gazebo on it. So it's nice to have some shade back there and a table and set up some hammocks and be able to quarantine in my own backyard for once, which is kind of cool. But the bigger news at our household is we now have a new addition to the family. And Jim T, you'll appreciate the name, I believe.
Yes, tell me.
It's in Spanish, not in Spanish. One part's in Spanish, but his name is Captain Jack Perro.
Is the chair so excited to have a new dog?
Are you excited to have a new dog?
Yes.
Also, I want to say that your hair looks great for the COVID time. In fact, her hair and that dog's ears are almost exactly the same.
That's right. Almost the same color as the dog's hair and your hair.
Yeah.
So he's 8 weeks old, or 9 weeks, I guess now. And he's doing all the puppy things, and it's a lot of work.
Oh, man.
If you've ever had a puppy.
Yes. Puppies,
you know the drill.
They'll eat your cowboy hats.
Look at my face.
They'll chew up your remote controls.
But we thought the Spanish word for dog is perro, and we thought it'd be funny to do a pun with Captain Jack Perro.
Well, it's good that you can roll your R's. We actually were practicing that.
Yeah, my wife cannot roll her R's.
No.
Let's hear it. Let's hear her not do it.
No,
try it.
I literally can't.
All right, let's just attempt it. You can do this.
I can't.
Hey,
and go. She can't do it. She can't do it. I don't know why.
Interesting. All right. Well, tell her to take lessons, and we'll check back in a month.
All right. He said we'll take lessons, and we'll check back in a month with you. All right.
So, Jason, I logged onto the YouTube channel, and I saw Sam Clem in there, but then all of a sudden the live chat wasn't on for me. So if you could take a look and see what you see.
Oh, I do see it. Sam says hi. Enrique Howard says hello, everyone from Panama. We got a viewer from Panama on right now.
Oh, there we go. I must have done.
Oh, I do see it. Welcome, guys.
What's going on here? Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, I'm technology.
I guess I can't do it over here. Every time I hit pause, it jumps me out of the screen. But that doesn't matter because that's not what we're here to talk about. Jason can check out that live chat if you want. So we have a few things to talk about. Jason's got some stuff. We have some news and a few updates. And I'll be having an email go out. I don't know. Maybe I'll send it out Friday or Saturday. I'll just see how it feels. And, I guess we should start with whatever, Jason, you want to talk about first.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I know most people have been quarantined and a lot of events have been canceled. It feels like nothing's really happening. However, people are still making new cool stuff. We are developing and moving the industry forward. Everybody's still talking about it on RC groups and going out flying under local fields, getting together, social distancing as required. But things are still happening. The hobby is alive and well right now, and things are good. So I've just got a couple things I wanted to show and kind of mention. The first one is from Kst Servos. These are the servos that I fly in my competitive hand launch glider. So here is it's a Kst 08. All right, it's an X08.
Yes.
This is what I fly in my hand launch gliders, which is a 1.5 meter wingspan. Right? So that's the size servo. Now, here's the brand new KST HS08A version that we fly in our F5j gliders, which are 3 to 4 meter wingspan gliders, a lot bigger. But the servo is just about the same daggum size.
Okay.
It's impressive. And it's an aluminum, fully new case. It feels really nice. It's really lightweight. It's an awesome servo. So these are brand new. These are kind of prototypes. I'm going to try out and test and see what I think. But they are actually going to redesign this case so it'll fit in a mount that holds this servo.
Huh.
So you'd be able to use the same servo frames that we use on our little gliders and use them in our big gliders with this higher power, more torque, better servo for that type of an airplane. Run big, long, giant flaps and ailerons on our big ships. So that's really cool and exciting. It's kind of neat to be able to test and prototype and contribute to technology in the hobby. So that's really kind of fun.
And with that said, we have, or Jason has, this Kst Servo feature going on rcgroups.com.
Yeah.
So you can go check that out and get all the specs, information. And Jason, I did a little sniffing around this morning and found out that Armsore carries KST.
Armsore, yeah.
And you can tell.
Guys, sponsor of RC Groups.
If you scroll down a little bit, there's Thomas Lee.
Nice.
And so there's all the info on that.
Yeah. I mean, so this is kind of big news for KST because they had, the little servos and then they had much bigger servos. And so this is a nice, in between, fits right in the middle, right where it needs to be, I think, for F5j, which is some more interesting news about gliders. This might be a lot of glider talk for me, but it's me. It's what I love.
What else
right?
are you going to do, right?
So an interesting note, I think it's for the first time since it's been introduced. So normally at the AMA Nationals, the national soaring competition, every year it happens. It's happening this year. I'm going to be up there at the end of next month, and we'll be bringing some coverage from RC Groups about what's going on up there. But normally we call it like glider camp. It's like a week-long soaring camp where everybody comes, hangs out, flies all over the country. And normally the biggest event of the entire thing is unlimited. All right. So these are any airplane you want can fly in it, but most people are flying 3 and 4 meter really big airplanes that are winch launched, right? They're pure gliders, no motors, use a winch. If you've never seen a winch launch, YouTube it. It's awesome. Pretty cool stuff. And it's always the biggest event, 40, 50, 60 pilots are in this thing. And right now, F5j, which is the same kind of airplanes, but with electric motors in them instead of winches to launch, now currently has more signups for F5j than unlimited. So It is really one of the fastest growing, kind of most popular segments in RC soaring right now is F5j. And it's a lot of fun. And I can tell you one of the reasons why is Scott, who I mentioned earlier, has also flown the big planes, and he kind of helped get me into them, flying the winch launch stuff. And hey, how to launch a winch glider. That's a big one. Yeah, that's going to be for full scale. That's cool.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and watch it though. So you keep talking, we'll watch it.
So Scott, if he and I wanted to go out and practice a winch launch airplane, it was kind of a big ordeal. You'd have to take the winch out, stake it down, set it up, launch, then go retrieve the line, walk it back, and do all stuff. It's kind of a hassle and pain in the butt, and kind of one of the reasons why a lot of people, stopped doing it so much, why it's losing a little bit of popularity. But why F5j is so good is you have electric motors and batteries, and you don't need any external equipment. You just plug in your battery, launch, and go fly. So he and I go out, and I'll take a little speaker and have a little 10-minute timer system file for like an F5j competition round. And we'll both go stand out by a little landing tapes that we set out, and I'll hit play and we'll wait for the countdown, and we'll launch at the same time. And we can fly little, 2-man mini contests together, fly 4, 5, 6 rounds at a time. And it's so easy and simple and just works, and it's fun, and it's, it's soaring in its purest, really, because you're only flying for 30 seconds on the motor. And the goal is to launch as low as possible, not gain a lot of altitude, but still fly for a 10-minute flight. And it's a lot more challenging than you might think, but the planes are so good these days. It's just so much fun to fly and do. So That's kind of why I think F5j is really taking over on the big playing circuit.
So you're going to Nats. What about these other shows? You going to any of them?
I'll be going to Nats. Yeah, so there is one at the end of this month, actually, in a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, something like that. Knoxville F5j. I believe I put a news article up on that as well. Let's see. I thought I did. Maybe I did not.
If you did,
I did. Yeah, the F5j contest in Knoxville is on June 27th and 28th. It's at the House Mountain RC Club Field, located in Corrington, Tennessee. It's Knoxville.
Now, will that be hot, Jason?
It might be hot. I'm going to be camping out for a couple days over the weekend, and hopefully it's not crazy hot. But man, I think it's the first 5J contest that's happening since COVID and all the craziness. So, and it's kind of built for social distancing, really, because everybody sets up your own tents, and you're 10 feet apart usually, and all your landing tapes are all segmented and spaced apart, and it's just a real easy, safe way to go hang out and fly and enjoy the time and flying and doing that stuff. So if you guys are anywhere near Knoxville within a 2, 3, 4 hours of driving and you want to check it out, I think we've got a pretty good group. We've got probably 20, 30 pilots coming out so far. So I mean, I think it's going to be a pretty big deal. A lot of guys are kind of itching to get out and go fly and practice and actually get in a legit competition now.
The hottest I've ever been was at the Bruce, where it was 113 degrees. Just like, I don't even know what it would be in the field.
Yeah.
But it's, and I've told the story, but not lately. I was talking to someone from RCGroups under a tent, and I thought, what country is this guy from? And what language is this? I've never heard it. And that's when I realized I was heat stroking out. And I better sit down and drink some water. That guy was speaking English. I was like, wow. Oh, wow, I'm really, and I realized at that moment I haven't had any sweat on my body in a while. And that's when I learned about heat stroke.
Yeah. Well, what a way to find out.
I'll tell you what, the other amazing thing that happened at that event was I was at another tent. We'll let this video roll. I was at another tent, and I just turned around as somebody launched a DLG straight, almost directly into my forehead.
Whoa.
It traveled across the field, but when I turned, I saw it was coming right for me, and I knew there was nothing I could do. I was dead. It had killed me, I bet, or at least damaged me. I wouldn't be talking like this right now.
Oh my goodness.
And right before it hit me, it just went like if I'd have had on, it would have taken it off. It just went woof. And the guy was, sorry, dude. I was like,
oh my God.
I've almost been killed at an RC event again. How many times is it? 8 times I've almost been killed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been there for most of them too. That can happen actually with a hand launch glider, because we have a launch mode, and when we hold the button down or the switch and we let go, it's got a bunch of up elevator, not a bunch, but some up elevator preset.
Right.
And so it allows the plane to kind of instantly rotate vertically, and you release it. But if you forget to push it, or something fails and you don't push it, it just goes straight and flat at 90, 100 miles an hour.
That is what happened, yes.
And then you got to and you got to grab the elevator and try to yank up on it and before you smack something. But
well, it was a young guy, and whoever it is, thank you for for grabbing the LA at the exact right moment.
Yeah. You remember David Henderson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So years ago at the San Velasco DLG contest down in Florida, David was out there, and I believe it was at, it was either there or Tullahoma. But anyway, somebody launched one just like that right into David Henderson's back. Boom!
Oh God!
Just laid him out. He was fine. Everything, nothing was like permanent damage or anything. But it was a hard hit, and he took it and fell and survived. Everything was good. No major injuries. But yeah, you don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
Well, I tell the story when oh shoot. Okay, sorry. I almost spilled a cup of giant water on my desktop here. But I was the time that I realized how much energy was behind a DLG was when I was hand launching, and I thought, I'm really going to throw it this time. Yeah. And I put it into it, and my elevator caught on my shirt as I went around. And so I fully let go of it, and it just went, don't. into the hard, very packed dirt, like not soft at all. Like if I'd have shot it into concrete and it went in the ground and then the tail just went and broke.
Oh yeah.
But it was so impressive. I'm sure I was upset, but I was really impressed at how far down to the ground that thing went.
That sound that happens, I think a lot of RC pilots are trained to recognize that sound and hear it. And you know what else it sounds like?
Broken bone.
Sounds exactly like somebody stepping on an empty water bottle. So if you want to mess with some people, prank them, you go near an airplane and you step on an empty water bottle behind it. And, just cringe.
That brings up a cringy story. And I took the wrapping off right before, but I was throwing, this is just a sidebar story. I was throwing the truck cover on the truck before I mowed. And I was going to do one of those full, like you've got this big truck cover bag thing. And I was going to throw it as hard as I could to get it from the front to the back.
Yeah.
But the 66 has this thing that goes over the window like this, you know. And when I did it, I hit it with my pinky. And the sound that was made was so loud that I thought I dented the truck. But that was not the truck that made that sound. It was the tendon in my finger snapping off the bone.
Oh my gosh.
That was 3 weeks ago.
Wow.
And it still feels almost the same as it did the same day.
Wow. You going to get that looked at? What do you think?
I don't know.
Just a flesh wound be all right?
No, it's not a flesh wound. It's got a knit. You remember when we were, okay, everyone, if you're all leaving, I understand, but you remember when we were in Oregon and the night before we were visiting Jim Burke and Knife Edge Software, and the night before I caught my pinky toe on my luggage.
Yep.
And I bent my pinky toe fully out. And before I hit the ground, I knew I'd done serious damage to myself.
Like, oh no.
So whatever I did to that pinky toe is what I did to this little finger. And that pinky toe took years before.
It's going to take a while. Yeah. And there's not much you can do. Just sit and wait, right?
No, what are they going to open my finger up? And no. So I'll go back to you, Jason, but it's kind of nostalgic for me because I remember my dad when I was a little kid, was working on his Harley and his hand up in the carburetor and the wire from the carb went into his pinky and severed the tendon that makes it bend. He took his hand off and looked at it, never mentioned it again, never went to the doctor, and his pinky never bent ever again.
I guess you just don't need to bend it that much.
Yeah, I was like, well, my dad can do that. Maybe I'm the same age.
Can't be less of a man than my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny.
So I understand you have some video for us to look at.
Yeah. If you could pull it up, I mean, I can't share it, right?
Yep. So what I'll do is go away to a different screen. What would be a good way to do this?
So cool news. Nick posted in the chat. He says they've got an iMac competition coming up next weekend.
Send me that link.
They're doing, what was that?
Send me that link.
To what? Oh, to the video itself or the article?
Either one. Is it an article? I can go do that.
The article. Yeah.
That's much easier.
F5j Archer GR8 sailplane receiver review.
Gotcha.
It's like third one down.
Oh, actually, I think it's in my list. Alpha Free Sky. Yeah, I already pulled it up. I didn't even know you were going to do it.
There you go. So I just put this review out. So Andrea PM'd me and said, hey, we know you've got the X-Lite Pro. We've got this new, and I like sailplanes. We've got this new receiver. It's kind of geared for sailplanes. Would you like to check it out? I said, sure, send it. So this is the Archer GR8. They will have a smaller version, GR6, I think, coming out soon, they mentioned. This is an 8-channel PWM with S-Bus in and out as well if you need it, and some other stuff. But it's kind of a long, skinny cylinder to, really designed to fit in a sailplane fuselage. And we're not talking hand-launched gliders here. We're talking bigger airplanes, 2 meters, 3 meter, 4 meter planes, but it's still pretty tiny. It weighs 10 grams. And, what I kind of think is really neat about it is it's got a built-in pressure sensor, which they've had in the past in other receivers. But this one, they said, was a new, updated, high-speed, high-performance pressure sensor, so you can use it with a variometer function on the radio and get really, fairly accurate, instantaneous vertical speed data. And in other radio systems or other ones that I've tried where you have like a vario and you can make the tones play on your radio, it was always like behind. You would see the airplane like lift in a thermal, and nothing would happen on a radio for like, just a little bit later. Then it would go do 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 do, and you'd hear the tones, and you'd be like, oh, it's like worthless because
you missed it.
By the time you hear the tones, you're past it. It's gone. So I was curious to see how well this one worked, and I gotta say, in the video, if you watch it and you listen to, I've got audio of me picking the airplane up here in a little bit and kind of rising and climbing with it, and you can hear the tones. It's pretty darn quick on responding in real time. And I actually was really surprised. I was this pretty early in the morning. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning this day. And I went up and I was like, there's not gonna be any thermals this early, but there were thermals, and I got in one and you could hear the tones in the video as I'm flying. I'm like, well, hey, I'm in a thermal. Look at this. And you can see the altitude because it'll give you a display on the telemetry screen. So you can see what altitude you're at, and you can see it climbing and climbing, and the tones going. And you could hear how poorly I was flying in the thermal because it would climb and then descend and then climb.
Wow.
But you could see the altitude continue to rise.
So it could really hone your skills, whatever.
Yeah.
Skills
So what I was
have.
saying is, you can't really use these for most of the competitions. You're not allowed to have telemetry and vario and all that stuff. You cannot. It's just against the rules. There are some competitions that do allow it. But it's great for training, especially if you're a new soaring pilot and you kind of want to get a feel for what it's like to be in a thermal and know what that looks like when the airplane, and you can see the tail lift or what happens to the energy.
I think that's huge.
Pretty great for that. You'd be flying along and all of a sudden you'd hear the tones and you can visually see like what that looks like to your airplane.
You could put this in a Radiant or whatever, but what's the receiver and the Free Sky transmitter or receiver? Well, how much does both cost?
The receiver is, I want to say, I think I have it in the review. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's $50, like $49 for the receiver.
So that's awesome. And
with the center, telemetry, all that stuff. So.
And how much is that transmitter?
The transmitter is like 120. I think it's under 150. This is the X-Lite Pro. It's been a while since I've gotten it, but this kind of works with most of the Free Sky transmitters. The different versions. There's several different ones, but even the regular X-Lite, you can still use it with this. But they've got the new Pro and the S, which I really like. Because that one has push buttons on it on the top, which is great for DLGs. It's really light and easy to throw. But when I push the push buttons, it'll audibly tell me the altitude. So if I don't want to take my eyes off the airplane, look down at the screen, see how high I am, you can just be like, I wonder how high that is. Push the button and it'll tell you how high you are.
That's awesome because the screen on that should be about twice as big.
Yeah, it's a pretty small screen. Got to get it real close to your face.
Plus, it's not very vivid. So there's a lot of room for improvement right there.
And somebody did ask on either the comments on this video or on the review page itself how I liked flying with this transmitter and if it took any getting used to kind of flying this gaming controller style radio versus the normal kind of box radios. And I told him I kind of grew up playing video games, so it feels pretty normal and natural to me. But honestly, the holding it doesn't feel a whole lot different than it does with a normal transmitter. Yeah. The only difference and thing you have to get used to is a little bit is the sticks are shorter. So you have a little bit less resolution. So you move the stick
more happens.
Less to get full travel. So you can get bigger stick ends for it, but that is something if you're used to full size length sticks that, the shorter distance does affect your ability a little bit. You just kind of get used to it after a flight or two. It's not that big of a deal, really.
I would think the end buttons would actually be more usable because they're more right there on your fingertips.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty ergonomic radio. The switches are all easy access, and I know a lot of times on the other radios, you're kind of like taking your hands off of the sticks or away from your normal position to try to get to some of them. You can access everything on this radio with your hands still in the normal position, so that's kind of cool.
Awesome. And you can check out that whole article on RCGroups. And once again, just in case if you're watching and you're like, I've never heard of the site RCGroups, what is this thing? You click right here on the first circle and you can find our recent articles.
Yeah. And so Andrea did PM me and said, by the way, we will have a smaller GR6 receiver soon. And then she says, together with specific Kst Servos for DLG users. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm curious to find out.
Interesting.
Cool stuff coming.
Well, speaking of, not really speaking of, but FPV, how did you like my fastest FPV in the world article?
Yeah, I saw that, and I had that queued up for an article too, and then Jim beat me
Really?
to it. I was like, yeah. I was like, good job.
I knew that
Pretty
this,
cool.
well, I debated, and then I thought, well, heck, if they want to argue about it, I guess they can. And they certainly did, didn't they? They're going to ruin
Yeah,
the
they
hobby.
did.
The best post was the last one where the guy was like, basically everything was done legally. And he
Yeah.
did his due diligence and earned his right and respect for doing it correctly. So I was like, well,
Nice.
good. I'm glad that was the outcome.
Yeah. Pretty darn cool. 300. Could you imagine flying 300 mile an hour?
We can look
with
at
an
this
airplane.
video.
Phew.
I'm pretty sure I can make video. I used to have it working off these things. I've never, Jason, you fly fast stuff. You fly like, how fast is your fastest RC plane?
I think, well, so yeah, I don't know. I've probably
150?
flown 150, 160. That's probably it.
Double that.
Yeah,
So like,
it's
when
insane.
do you turn? Like yesterday or like the day before yesterday?
And you better have a doggone good,
Receiver.
trustworthy video downlink or an autopilot system or something, because you could just fly out of range like so fast.
Yeah, and
Not
never
even thinking
find
about
it,
it.
right?
Yeah. That is nuts, man.
I'm just seeing close up.
That is just booking, man. That's awesome.
There it comes.
There he is.
There it went. Holy
Gosh,
smokes.
look at eye. That is just crazy. Love it though.
And then I went out and hunted this down. This wasn't a part of the original article, where it's kind of the making of the craft. Pretty sure.
Oh yeah.
So good stuff there. Let me just go through my list here. So the Alpha 2M F5j sailplane by Soaring USA. You wanted to talk about that?
Yeah, so I'll talk briefly about this because I've got one in the mail right now coming to me from Soaring USA, and I'm excited about it. So it's kind of tricky. So this is a 2-meter airplane, so it's about half the size of my big F5j competition 4-meter. But here's the thing: it's like a quarter of the price.
Did you buy this or did they send it for review?
This is coming for review.
And did they contact you or did you contact them?
I contacted the manufacturer. So it's sold by Soaring USA in the United States, and the manufacturer who I contacted said, yeah, we'd love to do that. He's on RCGroups. Loved the news article we did. And so he sent my review unit in the parcel with Soaring USA's inventory, which just arrived. And so they're shipping it to me from California.
And let me stop there and say big, huge thank you to Soaring USA. Always a big supporter of the site for years and years. And
yeah, so I was working with Alex over there, and I can't confirm this is going to happen. I haven't heard officially yet or not, but sounds like Steve New is developing a new motor, pun intended, for F5K, which is kind of the 1.5 meter hand launch gliders, but with motors, so you don't have to throw them if you're old and you can't throw or disabled or something. It allows you to still fly them. But it sounds like that motor is going to be a really good fit for this 2-meter airplane. It's only 0.5 meter bigger. So people were kind of commenting on this article saying, where does this plane really fit in the world of gliders? Because it can't qualify for F5K because it's bigger than 1.5 meters. And it's really kind of too small to be really competitive in F5J, where you need 3 and 4 meter airplanes. And I said, well, this is a good entry-level airplane for people to get into it for a fraction of the cost. I mean, this is literally a quarter of the cost of a full-on competitive F5J plane. And it still is going to fly really great. It's going to have an awesome wing loading. It's going to be able to thermal really well. I will actually probably use it as a backup plane in F5J because I only have one 5J plane in my neutrino. And if it ever gets damaged or something happens to it, or I can't repair it at a competition, I can pull this guy out and still at least fly. And you can be competitive with it still. It's just going to be a little bit probably harder than a bigger plane. But I'm like, for the price, it's an excellent deal. The quality of some of the guys that have gotten it so far say it's top notch, really, really nice stuff. So I'm very excited to get it. Still a 4-servo wing. We're going to have flaps, ailerons, rudder elevator, and motor for control. And I'm getting, I believe it's going to be white and neon green.
Ah, nice.
Is the color scheme. So I'm hot for that. It should probably be here next week, maybe. I'm not sure how long that's going to take to get here, but man, really looking forward to that. And it'll be a great sport plane too. If you don't want to compete, you don't have to worry about what size it is. You just want a nice airplane for a good price and go thermal and have fun. That's a good one to look at. So I'll know more once I fully build it and review it.
This is the account of the owner of Soaring USA. He's been on RCGroups forever, and I mean forever. And so if you're wanting to get into sailplanes or have questions or anything, want to buy something.
In case you wanted to know how you get a cool name like Bro on a web form like this, you have to have signed up in 2003, as Bob did.
Right there. Febs 7.
There you go. We're kind of talking about that with gamer tags on Xboxes and PlayStation stuff, and everybody's like, "Cool man, Jumanju 56789," and they're like, if you get people with like a single name or something, they're like, they're old school,
right? Just like my username on everything.
Yep.
All right, so we have that, and then this was cool. Twisted Hobbies. I wanted to show the video on this thing.
Yeah, the TV is awesome.
First, we'll look at the picture. So it's a yellow and black, a little bit different. The other GB iteration.
Booyah. A knife edge and son of a gun, isn't it?
I bet it weighs like negative.
Yeah. I think it's got more aileron area than wing area. That thing there. Jeez. If you're into 3D stuff, man, Twisted Hobbies. They got all the foamies. All the EPP stuff, anyway.
I wonder where that field is.
Yeah, it looks like it'd be like this almost looks like a flight simulator on my screen.
It does.
It's like real flight.
Thinking the same thing. Photo field.
Is this real? Is this a fake?
So you can check out that whole video in this thread. Twisted Hobbies. We go visit the site.
Yeah, that was my headline. This video makes me want this airplane.
$81.99. Then
I love the round cowl. Like,
yeah,
it just makes it like not look like a profile plane so much, but it is, but it isn't. It's kind of neat blend.
Glue CA Insecure Thin A. I have got to buy new CA.
I need new foam tack.
Usually at Toledo, I get
no Toledo this year. We didn't buy our glue.
That's usually it. I was thinking, why don't I have any glue? And I'm like, oh, I know why.
No.
So this was by the way, if you have a thread or you see something or you did something yourself, shoot me a PM and say, hey, I think this would be a good article. And I'm probably going to agree with you because I doubt that you would PM me if it wasn't. But I was going through and I saw this Airbus. And what's crazy is I saw an article this morning, last Airbus leaves facility. But I was like, and it said A380. And I was like, why does that sound familiar? And it was this dang airplane except full scale.
Yeah.
And so look at that thing in the air. Tell me that's not real.
I mean, yeah, it's like you couldn't tell. I don't know how you would decide that that's not a real airplane.
So if I'm remembering, this was Scratch built. And he built 2 kits, and then he built this. Let's see what it says. He built an A340 and 330 from a Roche Airliner.D short kit before, but this one is completely designed and built from scratch.
Man.
So holy smokes.
Doesn't matter how good of a builder like you think you are. There's always somebody that can do stuff like that.
That's amazing.
It's insane. I love it.
And then you build that and then you fly it. I guess you have to, and that's part of the deal.
I bet it's awesome. I bet it's so cool in person.
This is interesting, maybe to Jason as much as me, because we've been around Matt for so many years at events and at actual going to Horizon, and I've been invited to Horizon, and so it's a video about Matt and the invention of the Timber, which I've said the Timber is the new Cub as far as RC planes go.
There you go.
And so I thought, man, I just happened to see they made the video, and I thought, well, I'm going to feature this, and I've been in Matt's office, and he talks about, I believe in this video, the foam that they use for prototype planes, which is
Okay.
very beer coolerish,
Yeah.
very
EPS.
yeah,
Yep.
not smooth, not nice. And so, and they were talking about the process, and I've actually happened to be in Horizon when they're in the middle of these process, and he'll pull them out and say, "What do you think about this? How do you like this color? What do you think about that?" Which he does to anyone that comes in the office. He's
Yeah.
just gleaning input on it. And so he's still a young guy, but he's one of these guys that I think will be a historical figure in the hobby for making so many awesome airplanes.
Definitely. Great designer, great dude, good pilot.
And if you don't know what airplanes he's made, watch the video and just pull it aside. What I do with a video like this is I'll put it on a window and pull it aside. And then when I'm eating lunch or something, it's like my entertainment will be Matt Andrin today.
Yeah. Every time I see Matt, I always give him a little sly smile, and I'm like, "What you working on?" And he gives me a sly smile back and says, "You'll like it."
Well, and there's still a thread on RCG and FG about the Carbon Z GB. People are still commenting. I do not have 50,000 votes for it yet, so I'm not going to take it back to them until there's a lot of yes, I want this. But everybody seems to want the Carbon Z GB.
Yes. I hope it happens.
I think I've run out of content here. I can talk about our two vendors and our vendor spotlight, Esprit Model and SMC. SMC's been around forever. And I sent an email just the other day to talk about how long SMC's been on RCGroups. But they have some new batteries, and they wanted to make sure everyone knew about it. And so not only are they being featured in the spotlight, you can also find their banner ad in Batteries and Chargers. It's like I know my way around this website.
There you go.
And so this is their new the new battery they want to talk about. So be sure and check that out. And then also I was talking to ZB. I was out on a walk. I'm trying to walk once a day because I've been sitting behind this desk for over 14 years. Yeah. So you know what's cool, Jason, is I have been in contact with a lot of Vertical Scope employees, and no one is allowed back in the office at this point.
Yeah.
And so the talk is always working from home, and
yeah,
some of them love it and some of them hate it. And I realize now all the crazy stuff I've done over the years was all me creating coping skills for being in one room for 13 years.
Yeah. It's funny. You see that happening and they're like, we've been doing it for a long time now, but
it explains a lot. Yeah. Right. Because at first you're like, why am I building 8 guitars, you know? And then after COVID hits and everyone's at home and they're like, people are losing their minds. I was like, oh, I get it. I was going crazy.
Yep. And Home Depot is killing it.
Yeah.
Home improvement projects.
Oh, my God. So I look out the front door and my son is cleaning the, we have one of those gas lamps in the front yard.
Yeah.
He's got a Scotch-Brite pad. He's like, I was like, what is going on?
Oh my gosh.
We've got all the stuff in the backyard. And I came out the other day. My daughter painted the door turquoise, and all kinds of crazy stuff's happening around here.
Man.
But I was talking to ZB on my walk. And so we were talking about how much people are buying things. He said they're buying everything, Jim. They're buying everything you can buy to buy. They're buying that to build because they're building everything. ZB has more than a couple of roles in each word, so you really got to get the everything.
Yeah,
but anyway,
that's it right there.
The point of the RC story is that Esprit is our sponsor in the radio section. And so he and I were talking about that, and then we started talking about how much people are buying, and all of a sudden building full kits and things like that.
Nice.
Yes.
Hey, tell me about the JTA Innovations Extra JD. All
right. Well, as we all know, Jace Ducey is the greatest RC pilot that ever walked the face of the earth.
I mean, that's pretty close to being accurate, right? That dude is unreal.
You know what? So I don't want to get too deep into this. Certainly there are forefathers and great pilots. And some hot pilots who showed up and left just as quick as they got here. So, and I interviewed Jace In fact, we'll go look at that in a second in case you want to, not us, but in case you, the viewer, want to know where it's at. And so I was talking about not just being a great pilot, but being able to go to events and shows and talk to and be sponsored and being, the word is ambassador to the hobby. It's not easy. It's hard to do that year round, you know? And so he's a great pilot, but he's also a great ambassador.
Definitely. And it's cool to see these kids grow up, right, into the hobby, into the industry, like Andrew Jeske and
Nick
Jace.
Maxwell, who runs Futaba.
Yeah. It's like, it's amazing.
And so
it's
now,
so cool.
now Jace is full grown, and he brought out this foamy line, and I think he sells them as fast as he gets them. This one is not in stock yet. I think it's due in about 2 weeks, and that we don't.
I gotta say, did you have any influence on this color scheme, Jim?
I didn't. I don't think I did.
that's Jim T colors right there.
It's true. But the thing about this is, and I can say it without even knowing it, is that if Jace sells it, then you know it flies great.
Yeah,
right?
It looks awesome, and the video was outstanding.
Wait, what video? I went.
No video. I've seen video of that thing.
I haven't. He said when I posted this, I went hunting, and it said video to come.
Maybe I saw it elsewhere. I've seen a video on this.
If you see it, send me a link, and I'll drop it in here.
I will.
So I'm pretty sure. Let's go to Jace's website.
Or maybe it was just. Oh, I know what it was. It was just a short clip of it doing a blender, and he was like, if you're wondering how aggressive the JD Extra thing is, it was doing this blender, and it comes out, flat spins like a foot off the ground, and then does his Jace thing, rifle roll stuff. But yeah, very cool.
It's not available yet, but it will be, and this is where you can get it. And then we'll jump up here.
Very cool.
Let me go deep dive for Jace's interview. Here's the cool part. I don't know if we've talked about this. I'm sure I have. Well, yeah, I talked about it live while I was doing it on RCGroups.com. So let me find it. It was the. Am I past it? Jason, stop me when you see it. It's Jace.
What are we looking for?
It's from the virtual Joe Naw.
Oh yeah.
You know what? It seems to me like some of the stories aren't where they're supposed to be.
Once you get down towards the bottom.
Yeah, but have we really done this many stories?
Yes. Every day.
Okay.
Every day there's more stories. Once you get down to a certain point, it starts doing like old reviews, like to try to keep them rotated in fresh. So yeah, it's like they fall off at some point, and then there's other content.
Right.
At the bottom.
I know they fall off, but it seemed like the other day I was going through, I'm like, this doesn't look right. So this is Jace and I. And Jason's at his house. And so basically we're at the virtual Joe Naw, and I have his plane loaded up on the field. And so Jace flew the demo. But the cool part was, Jason, is I got to ask him about how do you approach a demo? What are you thinking about during the demo?
Yeah.
Can you hear people cheering for you during the demo? And so all the things that you might ask somebody like Jace, who not only flies at Joe Naw, but Dubai,
all over.
Yeah, he gets invited all over the world.
Princes.
And so let me cut to where his airplane is. Well, anyway, so here's his bird. And here's what's crazy. I asked him about this trim scheme. And then when I put this on Flying Giants, that airplane that this airplane's modeled after with that trim scheme, then the guy starts posting pictures of the actual airplane that this is based off of.
Yes.
So that's pretty cool. Take a little
drink. That J smile.
So you can check that out on our YouTube channel. Be sure and hit subscribe if you want to be on our live chat, which should be right here. Yes. Blake, TNRC 80. Tell people to sell more FPV planes. And more information here. Thanks, everyone. Wow. Thanks, everyone, for being on the live chat. And once again, hit subscribe. Jason, anything else you need to talk about?
I think that's all for now, man.
Well, the weekend is basically here, and it's not going to rain or get super hot till next week. I think it's going to start getting hot on Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
So we got that. And that's it. I've got the family coming over tomorrow night for Father's Day because I did make children and become a father.
There you go.
So
my dad's coming to visit me tomorrow too.
Will you tell your dad I said hello?
I will.
I've never met
And
you.
then at some point, I need to come over and play some croquet and go for a ride in the LRT.
Yeah, the little red truck.
I'm having withdrawals of the LRT.
You know, it's weird. And this is going to just sound like a wishful thinking, but it feels like it's faster this year.
Yeah,
Could it be faster?
it's broken in now. It's ready to be opened up.
Wait, the motor had 30,000 when it went in the truck, but I know they put a new cam in it and did some other stuff. So maybe before the motor went in, they got in it and freshened it up.
Yeah.
And I like when I leave any stoplight, any sign whatsoever, I am almost certain the tires are always spinning, and not on purpose either. You know how loud the pipes are.
Uh-huh.
I'm pretty sure I just never heard that. I was one day I was like, hold on, is that my tires going? What?
You can't hear it over the engine. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So now I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right, y'all. Well, we appreciate you joining us on the live RC Groups chat. Jason, this morning, this is just full of random topics. I was on my walk with Truman and Angela, and so I said, Truman, what if you came on the show today? And he's like, I don't know. And so I was like, hey, everyone, it's Jim T. Graham with RC Groups, and today my co-host is Truman Graham, and Truman would never answer. I tried it over and over, and I was like, look, dude, I can't bring you on the show if you won't answer when I say your name.
He just stares, and he goes, I like turtles.
Yeah, I like turtles. The Apparently Kid is still my favorite. So I'm
Yes.
going to leave you with this. If you're looking for a smile for the weekend, Google Apparently Kid, and you can just thank me later because I love the Apparently Kid. Apparently, I don't watch the news. My favorite is scared me half to death. All right,
Awesome.
This has been a completely random RC Groups
Yes.
live broadcast. Jason Cole is now going to go fly sailplanes furiously in his backyard while holding his small dog, Johnny Pero. And his wife's going to practice rolling R's all weekend long for next week. And now we're going to sign off and wish you all a great RC weekend. Bye-bye.
Be safe, y'all.
Bye-bye, everyone.